What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Slab's Free Talk Podcast. This week, we are going to talk about a plethora of things, a cornucopia of topics. That's right. We're going to get into Thanksgiving mood. We're going to talk about a cornucopia of topics, from Star Wars to Marvel to DC to Disney to even Sonic the Hedgehog. There's a whole bunch to talk about. So kind of sit back, relax. Don't relax, no. Get in the chat. If you're watching live. If you're not watching live and you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or what have you, what are you waiting for? Jump over onto the YouTubes and watch this live. Come on. But get involved, ask questions, join the chat. Let's get into this. What's going on? What is going on? We got just a guy on YouTube in here. What is going on? Hey, we got Xander Wild in here. Yo! I'm sure others will pop up as the stream starts moving forward. We got Trayvon in here. Hello. Hello there. Should be a good episode, I'm hoping. I do have an Ask Me Anything segment planned for the end of this episode, but James Gunn decided to answer a shit ton of questions throughout the day. After I planned today's episode, he dropped all this information, just one-word answers for a bunch of questions, basically, but it's information I think all of us want to hear. And I'm going to talk about that as well as everything else that I planned on talking about. I did remove one little topic that I wasn't even sure I wanted to talk about to begin with, so I removed that. But let's get into it. Let's talk about the first thing here, which is Ahsoka. It's Star Wars. That's right. When I get a chance to talk about Star Wars, I'm going to talk Star Wars, even though I am annoyed as shit with Star Wars. But Star Wars. Ahsoka Season 2, according to Daniel RPK, everybody's favorite scooper duper, he's stating that Ahsoka Season 2 could be used as a final season for the show, which is kind of weird because I know Ahsoka, the first season, did relatively well, and I actually enjoyed it. I know a lot of people are sitting out there saying now, like, it's not that great of a show, wasn't that great. I still enjoyed it. I thought it was a very enjoyable show. Was it great? Was it perfect? Was it phenomenal? No, but it was still enjoyable. But this, coming from comicbookmovie.com, says, according to the scooper Daniel RPK, or Daniel Richman, the plan now is to make sure the series has a satisfying ending in case it's canceled and doesn't return for a third season. We hadn't expected Filoni to tell this story beyond a couple of seasons anyway, but Disney Plus could always push for more episodes if Ahsoka is a big enough hit. However, the streamer can also pull the plug on any series that doesn't deliver, something we saw earlier this year when The Acolyte was canceled after a single season, leaving behind several major cliffhangers. Ahsoka Season 1 was rightly criticized for feeling like half a story, and had that also been scrapped, we'd be heading into Filoni's Star Wars movie with a lot of dangling plot threads for him to tackle. See, I don't think it was, I'm not going to say it wasn't rightly criticized. I think it was rightly criticized, but I think it handled everything well. It was far better handled than The Acolyte was. It was a better thought out story. It was written better. It was directed better. It handled Star Wars as the lore better. It did a lot of things better than The Acolyte did. But besides that, I think everybody expected going into this, because at that point in time, we knew that it was within that new world of The Mandalorian. It was in that post-Return of the Jedi world, and everybody kind of expected that this was going to be a continuation and that there would be more coming after it. Everybody's kind of expecting now that Ahsoka kind of is more than just this one season type of show. It was going to be multiple seasons, or at the very least, it was going to continue on into that Dave Filoni movie. So I think people expected that. I don't think people should be criticizing or should have criticized that there was an open ending, cliffhanger at the end of it, because absolutely there was going to be a cliffhanger, because we knew that it was building to a movie. We knew that it was building within that secluded little universe within the larger universe at the end, or between Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens. So it's a little baffling to me that they would state it that way. But I tell you what, I'm okay with them looking at the series or the season and looking at it as a or a series finale, final season type of thing. I'm never against that idea. I'm never against them. Look, I'm a stickler. I love cliffhangers. I'm a huge cliffhanger fan. One of my favorites of all time was the end of Pirates of the Caribbean 2. One of my favorite cliffhangers of all time. Love that cliffhanger. But I love them. But I also love when writers and filmmakers actually give you a satisfying conclusion to a story, and still you can draw from that story for the next film or the next project and still pull from it. So I'm on both sides here. I'm kind of like, hey, let's go for it. I'm all for it. So hopefully they do this well. Hopefully they do it right. Again, I'm still kind of iffy with Dave Filoni right now, after he's kind of the one that was like, hey, let's go with the acolytes. But hopefully they do well. Hopefully they do well. All right. What do we got here? Triton jumped in. Also, hi everyone. Hi, Triton. Let's see. We got Lawrence Fury in here. What's up? What's going on? Jalen Harris. God, were we talking about Star Wars? Hey, it's over, Jalen. We're done with Star Wars. We're good. Triton says, don't quote me on this, but I swear hearing someone somewhere that Filoni said he'd always planned Ahsoka to be at least 2 seasons. Wouldn't surprise me. That wouldn't surprise me. Now, these topics today, I'm all over the place. Typically, I try to keep DC to the end. Most of the DC stuff's at the end, but there is a DC topic right now, which we're going to get into. The Authority. Now, this is a scoop from... Look, this is a huge rumor, and I don't want to the only reason why I'm talking about this is because I think it's a good idea. But according to Apocalyptic Horseman, which whoever this person is, but according to this Apocalyptic Horseman person, the Authority film is reportedly being reworked into an animated film. Now, I do believe that is not a bad idea. If this is true, if it's true that the Authority is being reworked into an animated film, I think this is the smart play. I think it is a smart move for a couple reasons. Cost. Lowers the cost. All right, number one, it's an unknown franchise. The Authority, sure, it has comic books. People have read the comics. Sure, I get that. But here's the thing. Let's really think about it here. Sure, the engineer is going to be in Superman. That's fine. We'll get to know the engineer. But there are other characters within the Authority than the engineer. And I don't want to give the parallels to the Eternals, but I'm going to kind of give a bit of a parallel here. The Eternals had the Marvel branding with it, and it failed despite having that Marvel branding. See, I think the Eternals was a good movie. I think it was just a little long. I think if they could have shortened that movie a little bit and focused a little more on the story, like the immediate story, not the overall story of developing all 5-6 of those characters, but more of the story that was taking place right at that point in time, I think it would have done a lot better. But I still enjoyed the movie quite a bit. But that's kind of the problem that they could fall into with the Authority. The Authority could fall into that same type of issue where these are unknown characters to the mass audience, even DC fans, even comic book fans. They don't really know who the Authority are. And you throw them onto the big screen, people are going to be like, what is this? Like, why should I go watch this? So I think it's not a bad idea to do an animated film. And here's the thing. If animation works with them and people like them, then you can build off of that. Then you can introduce these characters in live action and maybe at some point do a live action, film with the Authority. But I think it's not a bad idea to go animated with them. I don't know. I maybe I'm wrong on this. I know there are some people here that watch my show that really were all about the whole idea of going with the live action authority. I get that, but I think this is the right move. One, it saves them a little money. It limits their possibility of having a bad outing, and they can focus more on some of the bigger names that they really need to get out there before focusing on names like the authority. That's really what I think they need to do. Let's see. What do you guys think in the comments, though? What do you guys think about there? Xander says, I would not mind to have the authority be reworked into animated. Yeah, I think that's just the best idea. Triton says the authority in live action would flop. Animated straight to HBO Max would be its only chance at any success. I honestly don't think straight to Max is necessary. I think you could do animated and even put it in theaters as animated, and you would still have success. I think you could still have success. Again, remember, animation is a quarter or less of the cost of live action. So you're not looking for as much of a return when you put it in theaters then. So you could throw it in theaters, you can still make it an event in theaters, and then it goes to Max, and then it sits on Max. You can do things like that with animation and still find a level of success. And then you're still drawing subscribers to Max because that's where you find it. That's the kind of success that you can find with animation more so than you can with live action. Jalen says, I hate how everyone is treating making the authority an animated movie as a bad thing. DC has been massively popular because of animation. Animation is a great category for movies, especially DC. I'm not saying it's a bad move. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. You're absolutely right. DC has been huge with animation for many, many years. But I just think it's the smart move with this particular IP franchise within DC. I just think it's the right move for myself. Again, I don't think it's a bad move. I don't think it's a bad mark for DC to do it this way. What I think is ridiculous is the people that are sitting there saying, "Oh, look, DC's already making changes because they don't have any money and stuff like that." It's like, no, they're making the smart moves. They're stepping back and reading the room and reading everything. The one thing James Gunn keeps saying is, we're not going to just do stuff to do stuff. We're going to do the right thing for the projects. We're not going to do anything just to do it. Everything is for story. Everything is we're going to do it for the right reasons. So I give him credit for that. Triton, also speaking of the MCU, I finally got Deadpool and Wolverine on DVD today. My dad and I are planning to see it together sometime. I've already seen it, but he's only seen the first two. Well, I hope he enjoys it. Let's see. Trayvon, the authority in animation would work. In fact, I think animation and live action can be used to distinguish the DCU projects. Animation for the niche, live action for the established names. Yeah, again, you're not wrong. I think that'd be a good little differentiation right there for both of them. You can have the niche in animation, and then they can cross over if they succeed in animation, cross over into that live action. And then if they even get bigger at that point in time, you can then build on their live action counterparts or influence or whatever, make movies or shows on live action at that point. So that could be fun. Xander says DC already making changes. It's the people who cannot accept the change from Snyder to Oh man, but let me know your thoughts. I want to know more what you guys think about this. Obviously, we got some more coming up about Gunn and DC, some comments that he's made. It's pretty incredible. But again, people are making these comments that he makes, they twist them and make them bad. And again, I don't know. This isn't coming from Gunn. This isn't coming. This is a rumor. So if this thing about authority does pan out, which I kind of hope it does, I think I'm all for it. But if it happens to not happen, again, we'll see. We'll see. Remember, the golden rule with DC Studios, it has to come from Gunn. It has to come from Safran to be true. That's the golden rule. Remember that. All right, the next thing. Oh, okay. Look, guys. Look, I'm gonna. I am a huge fan of Lilo and Stitch, and I wanted to just bring this up for a couple reasons here. All right, first off, they released their first teaser for Lilo and Stitch. I can't wait for this movie. And Disney better not screw this up. They better not screw this movie up. Not only because I love this this film when I was younger, but my kids love this movie. My daughters, all three of my daughters love Lilo and Stitch. Two of my daughters adore Lilo and Stitch. But that's number one. Number two, where are we? We're in November. We're November, right? November. This movie comes out Memorial Day, which is the end of May. All right. So we got December, January, February, March, April, May. That's 6, right? 6 months. This is a teaser trailer. People, use your head. Think. You know where I'm going with this, right? A teaser trailer 6 months before the movie. A teaser trailer 6 months before the movie. All these people who have been pushing back and fighting with me for weeks and months, even saying we're not going to get a teaser trailer 6 months for Superman, or 6 months before Superman comes out for Superman. That just is wild. They do it in Hollywood all the time. Again, and I always say teaser trailers are 60 to 90 seconds long, can be shorter, can be a little longer, but not, that's typically where it is. Teaser trailer, 32 seconds long here. This one is shorter than 60 seconds. Again, teaser trailers 6 months before the movie makes sense. Makes sense. That's partially why I wanted to show this. Again, I just wanted to show because I'm excited about it. Lilo and Stitch, love that film. Absolutely adore it. Can't wait to see this. Disney better not screw it up. But I also wanted to highlight it's 6 months before the movie's coming out and they're showing a teaser trailer. Just wanted to highlight that. Just wanted to highlight that. Triton says, they effing nailed Stitch. Perfect, faithful adaptation of the design and same voice actor as the animated film and show. I agree. I think they nailed Stitch to a T. I just can't wait till we start to see more trailers and more footage to see the actors and everything like that. That's what I want to see because I want to see how they get Lilo. Like, is Lilo and Stitch, their interaction together? That's what's important. That's what's important to me. Let's see. Trayvon says, Disney, don't you dare screw up my all-time favorite Disney animated movie. That's right. That is right. Don't screw it up. Xander says, I agree with you. Triton Stitch looks amazing. Jalen says, facts. Triton says, I hope Lilo's older sister is still as curvaceous live action as her animated. Oh boy, you guys never disappoint in the chat here. Let me tell you. All right, with that, we did get another trailer today, which was for Sonic 3, which releases December 20th. And I tell you what, this franchise has impressed me. It really has. I gotta say, when I saw the first one, which came out in 2020, because it was right during COVID, I couldn't believe how good it was, how much fun I had with that movie. The second one, I didn't have. I'll say I didn't have as much fun, but I still had a lot of fun with it. The Knuckles show, I never finished. I need to get back to it. I didn't finish it because I just forgot about it, honestly. And every time I see a trailer or something for Sonic 3, I'm like, I got to get back to that Knuckles show. It wasn't because I didn't like it. It wasn't because it wasn't good. I just forgot about it. But I tell you what, like this Sonic trailer was great. I love that Keanu Reeves is Shadow, the voice of Shadow. Shadow looks phenomenal. And it just looks like it's going to be just the pure fun that this franchise has been to this point. I have to say, we've complained for how long? How long have we complained about video game adaptations just never being good? And we finally have one that's not only done one movie that's good, but two movies that are good and a television show that's good, connected to that universe. And now it looks like we're getting a third movie that is going to be good in that universe. That's insane. And nobody's giving it its flowers. Nobody's giving it the credit that it's due. Nobody's hyping it up. And believe it or not, these movies aren't making massive amounts of money. It's not hitting the $1 billion marks or anything. And it's just wild to me. I can't believe like it's not doing better. It should do better. because they are just good, fun movies. And Jim Carrey comes back, comes out of retirement, yeah, kind of, to come back and do this movie. I just have to say, like, I am looking forward to this. I can't wait to see it. Then you have to wonder, are they going to do a fourth one? Are they going to do a fifth one? Like, I can't wait. And look, I'll take my kids to see it, and I'll say it's to take my kids, but I'm really going to see it for myself. Let's be honest here. Let's be honest here. What do you guys say here? Jalen goes, yes, Sonic 3. The Watcher, Stitch looks perfect. Maybe he could be a little bit more blue, just a tad more, maybe. Other than that, he looks perfect. Stitch, Mingna Nala Twista. Jalen Harris, Shadow, Shadow, Shadow. The Watcher. Both Sonic trailers are amazing. I'm so glad they gave him the gun. Shadow. Yeah. Shadow, they actually gave the gun. If you see right here, I like how they give the John Wick thing. Yeah, they actually gave Shadow the gun and his motorcycle. It's like crazy. Like they literally went all out with Shadow. Like, they're doing it right. Again, they learned. They learned after that first trailer for Sonic, the first Sonic movie, when the fans were like, what is this crap? Paramount was like, okay, we can't screw it up. We're not going to screw it up anymore. We're going to give the fans what they want. And that's what they've been doing. That's what they've been doing. What are you saying, Triton? A way to link the Sonic discussion back to Stitch. A friend of mine gave the best description of why we're all happy with live action Stitch. They didn't OG movie Sonic design him. Exactly. He looks great. He looks just like Stitch should look like. Trevon says, I have Sega for my ringtone. That's how much I enjoy Sonic the Hedgehog. That's awesome. Jalen says, I'm still waiting until they do Sonic the Werehog from Sonic Unleashed. Oh, they would go so hard. Triton says, where's that damn Chaos Emerald? Mano is time. Hey, Slav, just seen your Twitter and you're right about gun. Maybe I'm right about gun. All right. Next topic here. This is Marvel. The Champions. I thought it was going to be the Young Avengers. You see, it's crazy. The Young Avengers was actually a project that was supposed to come a number of years ago. I don't know if a lot of people are aware of that. The Young Avengers were planned to be done like about 3 or 4 years ago. And Iman Vellani was 3 or 4 years younger. You had a number of these characters. I can't remember all the actresses' names, but they were all much younger than they are now when this was getting planned and was going to come out. Now they're saying that because all these actors are much older than they were when they first were planning it, they're not going to call it the Young Avengers now. They're going to call it Champions. Now, I don't know if you know this, but Marvel has a run of comics called Champions, and it's youngish heroes within Marvel. I thought that that's what they should call this to begin with. I thought calling it Young Avengers was stupid, but I understand from a branding standpoint, it kind of made sense. Call it the Young Avengers because Avengers, everybody knows who Avengers are. That's a big brand name, so call it Young Avengers makes sense. Calling it the Champions, though, I thought is a brilliant idea, and if they do that, it's great. But now it looks like it is getting pushed even further, and this is a big reason why. It looks like it's going to be released after the conclusion of the multiverse saga. So we're looking at like 2029, 2030, something like that for when Champions is going to come out, which is insane to me. That's crazy because this was supposed to come out like the beginning of the 2020s. Like this was something that they were looking at doing shortly after the Infinity Saga. This was something that they wanted to get into. That was that's what they were building up to. I mean, you can see it in She-Hulk. You can see it in WandaVision. You can see it with Hawkeye. I mean, everything was being built to that, and that was something that they wanted to get to much earlier. And again, with the writers and the actors strike and the COVID, everything kept delaying it and getting it pushed back, and now it's getting pushed back even more. So that's why it looks like they may be calling it Champions. It may get changed again to Young Avengers. Who knows? But as of right now, it looks like it's going to be Champions. See, personally, I think what's a great thing to do is you have your Avengers, you have Champions, and then you have Defenders. I think you run with 3 teams in Marvel, and then you can just differentiate it. You have your Defenders on Disney Plus, you have your Avengers in the movies, and you have your Champions. I don't know. What the hell? Have them everywhere. Have them on Disney Plus, have them in the movies, whatever. Figure it out. But you have your 3 different teams, and then that you can have, and then you have your X-Men as well. Like, you'll have 4 teams. Then you have your Fantastic Four. Like, you have all these teams now. I think that would be a lot of fun. But again, I just think it's interesting that because it's taken so long, and believe it or not, like, some of these actors I enjoy. I think they're really good in their roles. Haley Steinfeld's great. Iman Vellani's great. Who's the girl that played in Doctor Strange, whatever her name is? She was really good in her role. I mean, I'm all for seeing a younger cast come in because you can't have all these same old actors forever. But I don't know. We'll see. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out, especially with the Mutant Saga and the X-Men coming in, because that's going to take a lot. I tell you what, once they really dive into X-Men and mutants, that's going to take a lot of excitement away from stuff like this. It really is. Really is. What do you guys have to say, though? Let me know in the comments below. What are you guys saying over here? Otito says, I'm here. Welcome back. The Watcher. According to RPK, we are guaranteed a Shadow solo movie if Sonic 3 does well, so I bought tickets to see it twice. Nice. Jalen says, Champions. No, it should be Young Avengers. Gee, damn it. See, I like Champions better than Young Avengers, Jalen. I really do. Chris Zostek says, who cares? Young Justice. Xander says, can we get real Hulk back into the MCU? We don't want Shrek with glasses. Just get rid of Hulk at this point. Hunter Iggy, where is Bat the Rouge? I don't know what you're saying, buddy. Man of His Time, will you talk about the APOC Horseman leaks? I talked about one a little bit ago about the Authority. I don't know what else other ones you're talking about. Because honestly, like, I don't really know who Apocalypse Horseman is. I don't know to trust his stuff. And I don't know. Like, I mean, I got some better stuff to talk about, though, directly from James Gunn today. So we'll talk about that stuff. The Watcher, champions of Young Justice either way. I don't care about it. They will always be Marvel's version of Teen Titans and nowhere near as good. I will say, though, if they add Lara, I would care more. Jalen says 2029. Dear God. The Watcher. X-23 is goated. The Watcher. I meant Young Avengers, not Young Justice. A lot of teenagers. Trevon says DC is about to be curb stomped. Marvel constantly starting next year. Triton. Part of me feels like the Mutant Saga will make or break the future of the MCU because of its decline these last few years, and the people like me who loved Fox's X-Men and am nervous about MCU X-Men. Yeah, I don't know. I just think they waited so long to start their mutant stuff. I just don't understand why they waited so long. I don't get it. Otito says, you hear about the reshoot for Brave New World? Yes, I think it's ridiculous. I mean, they've reshot that thing like 17 times now. And the latest rumor is that they're going back in to retool it again, whether it's more reshoots or re-editing because another viewing just says it isn't good. Like, again, that movie, I don't get it. I just don't get it. Trayvon, outside of No Way Home, Guardians of the Galaxy 3, and Deadpool and Wolverine, what the heck has the MCU even been? Yeah, you're not wrong. Lately, you're not wrong. Watcher, honestly, the only teen characters I care about from MCU far is Kate Bishop and X-23 and eventually Nova. Is X-23 even a teen character at this point? She's like 30 now, isn't she? Like in real life. Man of His Time, problem with Young Avengers. Champions, most projects that introduced them weren't that interesting and didn't do well at the box office. True. Johnny Dome. Marvel get Hulk from Marvel, then give Star Wars to Universal. Give everything to Universal, right? That's what everybody wants. Trayvon. Yes, it will. Triton. I mean, Snyder. Oh, geez. What are you guys doing? All right. Next topic. Speaking of Marvel, She-Hulk was replaced by Deadpool on an official Disney Plus Marvel hub. What? What? The world is healing. The world is healing. I don't know if you guys saw, but Disney Plus has a banner on it, and the original one banner had right here She-Hulk, and they replaced her with Deadpool. And people noticed, and some people freaked out. Some people celebrated, like me, because I thought She-Hulk was a terrible show, and I just think it's hilarious. I think I just wanted to bring it up because I think it's hilarious. That's all it is. It's funny. It's one of these things that who cares? Who cares? Deadpool was $1 billion hit for them, so yeah, put Deadpool on there, and you take off what was probably one of the most controversial uh, projects in the last 10, 15 years in She-Hulk. Take that off and you put Deadpool on. Makes the most sense. Loki was successful. Everybody likes Wanda, so you keep that on there. You're going to keep your Captain America on there. Everybody likes Samuel L. Jackson. Yeah, you probably could have taken off Brie Larson, but she's the future. They're for some reason saying she's part of the future of MCU. Shang-Chi was good, so they're going to keep her on there. Florence Pugh, everybody likes her. So who are you going to take off at this point? I mean, you're not gonna take off a woman of color. You're just not gonna do it because that's Disney. If they took off a woman of color, it'd be way worse than what they did. So you take off She-Hulk. That's just what they do. I just think it's hilarious. I think it's hilarious because of how upset people got. It's like honestly, like get over yourself. It's not that big of a deal. But again, you know how people are. You know how people are. All right, moving on. Okay. So this is where we're getting into the DC stuff. This will be fun. And this one here, somebody asked James Gunn today, is there any actor you have cast but didn't announce it? And he just says, yes. Okay. So chat, tell me, who is the actor, or not so much the actor, but who are the characters that he cast that have not been announced? First off, I know everybody wants to jump to conclusions. I saw Trayvon even posted on my X account here and goes, "You called it Slav with my video about Batman." I I while I still think it's a possibility, I don't think a character that big has been cast. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. There's still a possibility something like Wonder Woman could be cast and show up in Creature Commandos because Cersei's in it. There's still a possibility that Batman's been cast. Absolutely. Aquaman. But like you said, Booster Gold. You guys are saying it in the chat here. Resident Justice says Booster Gold. Absolutely, that's a possibility because everybody's expecting that it's Kumail Nanjiani. But it could be some smaller characters, something as dumb as like Condiment King. It could be something as stupid as who knows? I mean, it could be rogue gallery characters that we've not seen yet. Remember, Creature Commandos comes out in a couple weeks, and it could be characters within that are cast that we just don't know about yet, and that could show up in other projects down the line. It's just that they had to cast them for this show, and then they're going to show up later on down the line. So, a lot of people are taking this like, whoa, this is big news. This is crazy. Who could have he cast? Who could have he done this? But again, I want to hear what you guys have to say because I think this is interesting. This is the one thing I love about James Gunn is he likes to just do these one word answers and doesn't expand on them. But I think it's a little fun. But then you have the people who take it too far and the people who are like, why would you do that? You said you wouldn't cast anybody unless the director is casting them or the people who are making the shows or the projects cast them and blah, blah, blah. And they say crap like that. And it's like, first off, nowhere does this say that the directors aren't involved. Nowhere does this say that the people making the projects aren't involved. But that's where people take it. That's how people take it, and they run with it, and they just want to twist his words like they always do and find a way to twist it when they're just being pathetic. That's all they're being. They want to find any reason to hate him and piss on him for no reason at all because they're just pathetic little children, really is what it is. The Watcher says Sergeant Rock is going to be freaking dope. Rock fighting Nazi zombies, Sisu style fighting, bruh. Yes. Triton says, this is James Gunn. It's probably some wacky random D tier character no one but the super hardcore fans know or care about. Again, that's not a problem. That's not a bad thing. You're making it sound like it's a bad thing, Triton, but it's not, because that's long-term planning. That's planning for, like, okay, I want some of these characters cast with actors, so when we use them in a movie, in a Batman movie, in a Wonder Woman movie, or this or that down the line, these actors or characters are already cast. That's fine. Again, it's possible that it's Booster Gold. It's possible Batman. It's Wonder Woman. It could be Aquaman. It could be Flash. It could be any of those characters. It could be any of them. It could be Green Arrow. It could be Huntress. It could be anything. It could be a bigger character that we don't know, because they could very well pop up in Creature Commandos. They could pop up in Superman, because we don't know yet. But again, I would just, or Lanterns, Supergirl. Remember, those two movies are about to begin filming, so they obviously have cast a bunch of roles for that as well. Let's not forget that those two are about to start filming in a month or less, month and a half. So let's not forget that kind of stuff is going on. But again, you're right. Like, Triton, don't sit there and act like these D tier characters are casting them as a bad thing, because it's not. Those characters can be important down the line. Right now, maybe not, but down the line, they can be. The Watcher says, I'm pretty much 1000% sure that the Center is our big bad at this point. Oh, man. I hope not. Hunter Iggy, I just sent you a picture on your Twitter messages. Oh, did you? Well, what are we looking at here? Oh. Yeah, I saw that earlier. I saw that one earlier. Oh, man. Minos time. If the episode about G.I. Robot and Creature Commandos is fire, this would have a nice hype effect for Sergeant Rock. It could. Johnny Dome, if Triton is correct, I'm hyped. Unknown characters, yay. Resident Justice, he's one of them. The other is going to get teased very soon. The Watcher. At the Watcher. Trayvon, Creature Commandos, Superman, and Peacemaker Season 2 set and ready to go already. James Gunn is a madman. He really is. He really is. I mean, Peacemaker Season 2 has just wrapped. Superman is done. It's, they're finishing up that. And Creature Commandos is done. That's 3 projects done, pretty much ready to go. Not ready to go. I mean, they got to finish editing Superman and Peacemaker, but three projects pretty much done for DCU. 2 more about to start. That's exciting stuff, Trayvon. It really is. Otito, I mean, James Gunn is a fantastic director and comic book fan. He knows what he's doing. Creature Commando is about to come out. I've unintentionally remembered haters' names. Watch when they switch. Jalen says Swamp Thing. Could it be Swamp Thing? Maybe. Snyderverse fans are like crying children in a story whose parent told them to put back the toy they got off the shelf. Johnny Dome, before Iron Man, no one knew who he was but the hardcore fans. Very true. I mean, I won't say nobody. I knew who Iron Man was, and I wasn't like a hardcore fan. I never called myself a hardcore fan back then. I wouldn't. I mean, I was a casual fan back then, but I knew who Iron Man was, but I would never have expected them to make a movie about Iron Man. When they were like, we're making an Iron Man movie, I'm like, why? That's weird. Yeah, that's kind of how it was. Let's see. The Watcher. It's very likely characters like the Bride and G.I. Robot appear in Sergeant Rock. Yeah, I mean, if they'd make Sergeant Rock, it's possible. Triton says, "Oh, come on, Johnny Dome. He was more well-known than Creature Commandos. He was. Yeah, Iron Man was very, very much well-known than them, yes." Watcher asks, you don't like the Center? I just don't think I don't think the Center is a good villain for an overall villain. I just don't think. Maybe for a movie, but not for an overall villain. All right. Okay, moving on. What else do I got here? James Gunn on Marvel Studios announcing okay, this one got interesting. This one got a little interesting because people are getting kind of ridiculous here. So James Gunn and Marvel Studios announcing projects. This isn't really what I want to talk about, but basically, James Gunn said the DCU won't be exactly like Marvel because nothing is greenlit before we have finished a script. And then people freaked out because like, well, you announced all these projects for Chapter 1 Gods and Monsters. How is that not like Marvel? Blah blah blah, freaking out. All right. So let's kind of put this out there for you, okay? Let's explain the differences here. All right. So James Gunn has done a pretty good job of explaining the differences over the last 2 years at this point now. And the difference is this. So Marvel, when they go out on stage at Comic-Con or Disney Investor Day or whatever it is, when they go out on their stage, D23, whatever it is, they go out there and they put up on a board, on a screen, and they go, this date, this movie, this date, this movie, this date, this movie, this date, this movie. And sometimes it's not a date, sometimes it's just a month. But they go out there and they put days and dates and months and years, boom, 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 all out there. And people get excited and they're like, oh, so this is phase 1, this is phase 2, this is phase 3, and this is how this saga is gonna flow now. Okay, this is how we see it. And that is the Marvel way of doing it. Now, what James Gunn did, very specifically, so he went out and announced Chapter 1 Gods and Monsters. And he said, here's some of the projects that we're looking at tackling for Gods and Monsters. And he announced, 7 projects, 8 projects, something like that. Some of which were greenlit. Peacemaker Season 2, Superman, Creature Commandos. Those were all greenlit. They were in the process of getting Supergirl ready, getting written. That wasn't fully done yet, so it wasn't fully greenlit. Lanterns was in the process, wasn't fully greenlit. But they were in heavy development. Shortly thereafter, people go, hey, what's going on with these projects? He goes, look, we focus on story. Nothing will be greenlit. Nothing will be put into production, anything, until we have a script, until we are happy with the script. And he has repeated that over and over and over again for the last number of years. He has repeated that constantly. We are not going to rush a script. But here's the difference. He has just said, this is Chapter 1. These are the projects that we want to put in Chapter 1. He even then talked about again how, look, some of these projects in Chapter 1 may not necessarily get made right now or at all. But these are what we would like to do. This was just us saying, look, these are the projects that we are developing. This is what we want to develop in Gods and Monsters. So this is what we want to do. So this was just telling the fans, like, look, this is the type of things we want to do here. Whereas Marvel was like, look at what we're doing. This is how it's going to go. And then when it doesn't happen, people get pissed off. Whereas James Gunn with the DCU was like, okay, look, this is what we're doing. And then he constantly, multiple times, has come out and said, look, we don't have a script. It's still in development. We're still working on it. It's not greenlit. We're still working on it. We're still working on this. We're still working on that. Some of these things are coming. Some of them are not. Hey, this is greenlit. Oh, look, now it's being made. Now it's been, okay, we got a writer. We got a director. Boom, boom, boom. And then he constantly says nothing is happening until we are happy with the script. We do not greenlight anything. Nothing is put to date. Nothing is given a date. Nothing until we have a script and we are ready to move forward. Like, why is that a bad thing? Why are people upset with that? Like, what? Like, what? I don't get it. Like, in a day and age where we have so much shit coming out in Hollywood, so much shit, people are upset at a filmmaker, at a writer, at a director, at a studio head coming out and saying, look, guys, we aren't going to just put shit out. We are going to take our time and make sure that the script is right. We're going to make sure that we are happy with everything. We're not just going to rush through and get a script out just because we need to get a Batman movie out or just because people want a Batman movie. No, we're going to take our time and get it right. But people are mad about that? Like, get out of here. That's the big difference. That's what he's talking about. That's the difference between DC and Marvel right now. Marvel for the longest time was like, all right, we want to do an Ant-Man movie. So they would, okay, we're going to do an Ant-Man movie. All right, we need to hire a writer. So they hire a writer and they get Edgar Wright onto it. And then he writes it. Oh, crap, there's issues. And then they got to get a new person onto it. And then there's more issues. And then they do this. Oh, we got to do this. Oh, there's issues here. Okay, now we got to get another writer, another director. Oh, crap, there's it. And that's the problem when you put a movie up, you say it's going to come out, then you have to rush to get it there. Whereas with DC, we're not rushing. We're taking our time. Sure, people know that we're going to be developing these movies, but there's no time frame for us to get it there. People just know it's coming. We're going to get there, but we're going to do it right. And that's the difference. And that's what I love about what he says here. And that's why people need to get excited. Like I've been trying to tell people, be excited about this. This is a good thing. This is a good thing. That's a good thing. Well, let me know your thoughts. I want to know what you guys think. All right. I know you guys are talking a whole bunch of stuff in the comments, but I want to jump over here real quick. I got to redo this real quick. Stop that. And I got to share this with audio because I want you guys to hear this. I don't know if you heard this earlier. I hope you guys can hear it. But James Gunn talks about Superman and how it's relatively serious and pretty family friendly. Let's go.
I know that you have other live action shows coming as well. Is that going to kind of be the level you want to have them on, or are you going to do different stuff there as well?
Everything's going to be totally different. One of the things I love about DC Comics is that they've always been able to tell different stories in different ways. They've told.
I love this answer. We've talked about it multiple times. He's going to get more into it, but we say it constantly. DC is all about different tones, different feelings, different everything. And we've talked about that from the announcement of Gods and Monsters. Everything has different tones. Everything has different feelings. Everything is going to feel different and look different and be different. That is what we want from DC. Not everything is going to feel the same. Everybody's like, oh, James Gunn's coming in. It's going to be a Marvel clone. No, it's not going to be a Marvel clone because everything's going to be different. And that's what he's going for here. And I love it. I love it. Let's hear what he says, continuing what he says.
Stories that were more family-oriented, stories that were more adult-oriented, dark stories, light stories. And I think for us, we just want to tell a bunch of different stories. A lot of those different stories are going to be in the DCU. So we have, something that's relatively serious like Superman, and then
relatively serious like Superman.
Something that's relatively comedic like Peacemaker, all in the same universe, something very adult like Peacemaker, something very family, pretty family friendly like Superman.
I like how he says family friendly, pretty family friendly like Superman. Interesting.
But it's I think that to be able to tell different types of stories is kind of what makes things fun. And one of the things that I've gotten a little sick of is all these stories being relatively the same. And I'm trying to step outside of that. We at DC are trying to step outside of that.
It's fantastic. Like, this is like an amazing answer. Again, 2 weeks in a row, he gives perfect answers to questions that people then twist or make like it's bad. This is a phenomenal answer. This is exactly what we need to hear. First off, let's take a look at Superman. What he's talking about Superman is how it's going to be serious. Remember all those people sitting there saying, oh, Superman's going to be like Peacemaker, dick and fart jokes. Obviously, no. He's saying it's going to be serious. Not only that, he's not saying it's just going to be family friendly. Sure, it's going to have some family friendly elements, he says, but it's not going to just be family friendly. It's going to be serious and somewhat family friendly. That's exciting. No, it's not going to be for you people like you, Triton, in the comments right now. It's not going to be your very serious and dark and gloomy like Man of Steel. Again, I'm a huge fan of Man of Steel, my favorite superhero movie, but it's going to have the family-friendly elements that Superman has encapsulated in the comics for nearly 100 years. That's okay. That is what we need. That is what is needed for Superman to be successful. We've seen that. It was not successful the way it was done with Zack Snyder. They believe this is the way it's going to be successful. So let's see how it plays out. But it's not going to be the dick and fart jokes that everybody thought it was going to be. As I've said multiple times, James Gunn is a talented writer. He can do more than one thing. And then we get to the bigger part that he said, and I brought it up, is how DC is just full of different tones. It's going to be different. Some things will be serious. Some things will be family friendly. Some things will be adults. Some things will be humor. That's fantastic. That's what we want. That is how we want it. The one thing that I loved about Marvel in the 20 teens was how they were going that route. And then they lost it. They lost it for some reason. Like Guardians of the Galaxy was like a sci-fi action comedy. You had The Winter Soldier, which was an espionage type of film. You had your fun humorous films in Ant-Man. But then they got away from that and just decided to go one direction, and it was really bizarre. DC is like, no, we're gonna grab what is all about DC and take it and run with it and have fun and really take what DC has always been about. And that is great. That is what is exciting. That's what I love to see. That's what is fun. And that is why DC will succeed under James Gunn, because the general audience will see it. The comic fans will see it. And that is what people will like to see and want to see more of. And I can't wait. I can't wait. I just can't wait. This is right here was a perfect answer. Much like the answer that he gave last week about the continuity and the canon, this is another perfect answer. And I give him a lot of credit. Bravo, James Gunn. Perfect answer. Love it. Can't wait to see what comes of Superman now. Can't wait to see what comes of DC. It's in good hands. It's in good hands. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below. All right, guys, that gives us about 9-10 minutes. Ask me anything. Shoot. I'll go through as many comments as I can here for sure. But shoot in the comments. Bring up any of the topics we talked about today. Anything you want or anything you want to ask me. Go right ahead. Triton says, to be fair, Gunn is openly called superhero stupid, so yeah, him calling Superman serious doesn't mean crap. All right, man. Like, okay. Trayvon, all that Gunn has been saying is just music to my ears. Triton says, Man of Steel wasn't dark, it was serious, and frankly, DC does its best work when it's serious. Leave the family-friendly kitty crap to Marvel. So you're gonna like Triton. I want to ask you this. So you're gonna say that 80 plus years of Superman comics is like null and void? I mean, how many of those comics in the 80 years of Superman were family friendly? A lot of them. That's what Superman was built off of. Sure, Batman was more dark and adult oriented, but Superman was always family friendly. Sure, it had its runs where it was more adult oriented, but even the current runs, even when they brought it back with the rebirth, it was more family friendly. Tito says, when I see Gunn, I see someone who genuinely cares about comics instead of being a fan of one comic cuff and actually delivers quality content. Cough, I'm guessing. Yeah. The Watcher. Have you all seen Blind Gunn hating over the Den of Nerds? It's wild. No, I don't watch Den of Nerds. Triton says, you have zero proof that Gunn actually loves comics. He just says he is. I could say I'm an expert in engineering. Doesn't mean I am one. I mean, like, what else do you have to go off of? I mean, everybody believe. I hate when people say that crap. Triton tries to say at least 2/3 of the fan base is against Gunn's DCU, but it'll succeed. 2/3 of the fan base. Okay. All right. Xander, may I interest you in a personal made art piece? I want to show you my appreciation for what you do for DC fans. Sure, absolutely. Tito, you're talking to him. Triton says, I've never read a Superman comic. Are you sure? Like, you've never read a Superman comic? Are you making a joke? Like, or have you never read a Superman comic? I don't know if you're real there. Let's see. What do we got here? Trayvon says, seeing how some reacted to Superman having no origin story made me understand what Slav meant when he accused some of making the general audience look like they're stupid. Resonant Justice, if you've never read a Superman comic, then I don't know what to tell you, dude. That probably explains a lot of the ignorance. Resonant Justice, how do you plan on covering Creature Commandos for the channel? Are you going to do video reviews, spoiler discussion, streams, etc.? I don't know yet, Resonant. I do want to do a review. Spoiler discussion sounds like a good idea. I've never done that before, so it might be something I'll do. So maybe what I'll do. What day of the week are they coming out? What day of the week are they dropping? I have to find that out because I might be able to pull it off. I don't know. I got to find out. I want to do a spoiler. I've never done a live spoiler discussion for anything before, so I'd like to try that out with Creature Commandos. So maybe we'll see how that goes. See you, Jalen Harris. I see your comment there. Just I'm not down to it. Have a good night. Manoas time. Do you think the way Gunn talks about the way superheroes are treated in the universe will have the same vibe as The Incredibles? Maybe. I don't know. Possibly. Are you talking about how, like in The Incredibles, how they're like shunned because, like, how they have to like go into hiding? I don't think it's going to go that far. I just think it's, again, read Kingdom Come or check out Kingdom Come. I think if you've ever read Kingdom Come or know that story, or just go online and look up Kingdom Come and maybe get a synopsis of that, you'll understand. I think it's more along the lines of Kingdom Come than anything else in that regard to superheroes being in the world. Xander, what would your own personalized Joker art piece, what would your own personalized Joker art piece you may discuss with me in my DMs on what you would like to see in your own personal? Okay, I will talk to you there. Jalen, I gotta go, but it's already said bye to you. Triton says, I'm serious. I've said before, I hated Superman until Man of Steel. I'd look at Chris Reeves and think, God, that looks cheesy. Man of Steel showed me Superman can be serious, interesting, and badass. I would really recommend checking out some Superman comics, man. I would. Even reading some action comics. Reading some of the action comics, even some of the more modern action comics, I think you would enjoy. Maybe not too modern, but that's because some of them have some of the Superboy stuff that I don't really like. But yeah, check them out. If Creature Commandos comes out on Thursdays, then that'll work out perfectly because then I can do maybe like a portion of my Thursday Watchtower show as the spoiler talk. So, and I can watch it that day. If it comes out like Thursday morning, if it comes out Thursday evening, then I might have to wait and do like Friday. I might have to do a spoiler discussion, or Saturday. So I have to figure it out. I will definitely do a discussion, like some sort of discussion, and I will definitely do a video somehow. I just have to figure out, I have to take a look at what days are coming out and go from there. Jalen says, also hit that like button. Yes, hit that like button, everyone. What time is it? All right. Resonant just says, someone who's seen Creature Commandos, are you going to want to live react or do a live stream immediately following episodes 4 and 6? Because those will be the big episodes that get everyone talking. Well, you're going to want to live react or do a live stream immediately following episodes 4 and 6. All right. Well, we'll see. I'll have to plan that out. I got to see how they all fall because that's through December, and then you got Christmas in there and everything. Look, I'm jealous of you that you got to see it. Jealous. But besides that, I will see what I can do. I'll see how I can figure it out. Again, I got to figure out when they're coming out. I got to figure that out. Resident Justice says, in terms of the DCU lore, world building, but that's all I can say for now. All right. Otito says, you still watching Brave New World in spite of tumultuous history? Brave New World. Am I missing something? Brave New World. Are you talking to me? It's a drama series. I'm not watching Brave New World. I don't know what you're talking about. Sorry, Otito. I don't know what you're talking about. Resident All-Star Superman, Superman for all seasons are must-read comics for anyone who is remotely interested in Superman as a character. All-Star Superman's good for all seasons. Yeah, I guess so. Again, I go back to, if you want to... See, I'm trying to think. Oh, Brave New World, Captain America, Brave New World. Gotcha. Man, I'm sorry. Oh boy, I'm dumb. Man, my head. Anyways, as for Superman, I'm just trying to think for Triton, for somebody who isn't too keen on the idea of Superman. I don't think he would be into All-Star Superman. He might be okay with all seasons. He might be okay with that. Death of Superman might be good for him if he can find that run. But that's just such a famous run, and it's so like overplayed. I don't know. I'd have to think on that one. What's a good run or two for someone like Triton? I don't know. Anyways, yes, Captain America: Brave New World. Yes, I'm going to watch Brave New World. I'm still going to watch it because I put myself through worse. Come on. I've watched worse. I watched The Acolyte. If I could put myself through The Acolyte, I could put myself through Brave New World. So, yeah. All right, Triton, have a good night. See you later. Superman Birthright is great. A lot of it. Yes. That is, yes, good choice. Birthright. Go with that one. Go with that one. Perfect choice there. Triton, if you didn't leave yet, check out Birthright. Oh, Kingdom Come is my favorite. Is one of my it might be my favorite. I agree, Resident Justice. Everybody should read Kingdom Come. Absolutely, 100%. Everybody should read Kingdom Come. That was one of my first large. What I can't think of the word that I'm looking for. But yeah, like I was into comic books, and then a buddy of mine was like, "Here, read this," and he just handed me this big book, and I was like, "What is this?" And it was Kingdom Come, and I was just like, "Oh, geez, this is amazing." So yeah, I thought it was great. What do I think about the Absolute Universe? I honestly haven't dove into it yet. I need to. I want to. I've heard so many good things about it. I want to. I've already read snippets of Absolute Batman. I'm more interested in Absolute Superman right now, only because I've read the snippets of Batman. It's cool, but I'm more interested in the idea of the Absolute Superman. It sounds cooler to me than the Batman. I don't know why. It just sounds better to me. But the Wonder Woman, Absolute Wonder Woman, that didn't sound too interesting to me. But the Superman's the one that really interests me. But I'm gonna pick up or check out. I'll probably just get it because I know I should be supporting my comic book shop, but my closest comic book shop's like 40 minutes away. So I'll probably just pick them up digitally and read them on my iPad. So that's probably how I'll get them. But yeah, I do want to. I'll probably get Batman and Superman, Absolute Batman and Superman. I know that. What is it? Is it Flash or is it Arrow? Green Arrow. Which one coming out in March? I think there's another one coming out in March. I don't know. Oh man! All right, guys, I got to start closing up shop here. This was a fun show indeed. We're Words. Can't talk. Thursday's Watchtower has been moved this week because Thursday is Thanksgiving in America. I don't know if you're all Americans, but if not, Thursday's show has been moved to Wednesday. It'll be Wednesday this week. I'm shooting for 8:30 p.m. on Wednesday. So we'll stay at 8:30, but Wednesday instead. I will put a reminder out in the community on YouTube as well as on X as a reminder. Don't worry. It will be Wednesday this week. The topic will be, I don't know yet. I have a feeling James Gunn's going to drop more crap. I don't know. It's going to be so much stuff. Who knows? But we'll talk a good bit of DC related stuff. And then the month of December is going to be wonky. I do want to forewarn all of you. It's going to be a little wonky. I'm going to be helping out a buddy. He wants me on his stream one week on a Thursday. So it might be moved that week as well. And then I want to do something holiday themed for the Watchtower as well. So I got to figure out what we're going to do for that for the Watchtower. So keep a lookout for that. Real quick, I'm going to do member shout outs. Here are all the members for the show. So thanks to all the members. If you want to become a member, just hit that little join button down in the corner. Let's see. Man, it's time. The fact that Gunn has all these influences for his universe is amazing because it introduces people to comics they may have never heard of. Exactly. The Watcher says, Absolute Batman and Wonder Woman were the best ones. Really? I don't know. Wonder Woman one, I read the little synopsis on it. It didn't grab me. The Superman one is what grabbed me. I don't know. Xander says, see you, Slav. Discuss with me whenever you can. Will do, Xander. Thank you very much. Watcher says, peace. See you later. Everybody have a good night. All right, guys. Thanks for hanging out with me. Again, those of you who don't know, you can catch this show on Spotify and Apple Music. Apple Podcast. Not Apple Music. This isn't music. This is a podcast. Find it on Apple Podcasts and Spotify if you don't have a chance to catch it live, but I hope you do catch it live. All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Again, I will see you this Wednesday, not Thursday, Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. for